All right, welcome along to the show that still has no name. Hopefully by the time this is released, we'll have a name. I'm here with my man, Gary Rothwell. He's a veteran, European kettlebell champion and world, or not?
And world champion.
And world champ.
I had to correct
A couple of people.
my coach this weekend.
Yeah, there you go. And he's a two-time High Rocks winner. Invited to the Worlds in Vegas.
In May, yes.
In May. He's a gym owner.
Multiple
times.
Multiple gym owner.
Multiple times. And former gym owner in some respects.
Yep.
And an online coach and the leader of the Empowered Man. So, without further ado, welcome Mr. Gary Rothwell.
Thank you very much. Super excited to be here.
No, we were just saying before we got started, it was 6 years ago this week, kind of when we started working together, or
It was
2 weeks ago maybe.
Yeah. It was early 2016.
Yeah.
Well, it was December 2015. I contacted you
Yeah.
with regards to opening up a gym. It was early 2016 when we finally got on the call, because obviously you need to get Christmas out of the way. And it was basically, long story short, was, do you have a gym? No. Do you have any clients? No.
Yeah.
Why are we on the call?
Yeah.
Because I want a gym. I've got no experience, no knowledge, but I do have passion, drive, and I want to invest in myself.
Yeah, I remember it.
And you actually turn around and says, I don't normally do this.
Yeah.
I normally work with gym owners who are earning between this and this.
Yeah.
And I said, look, give me an opportunity, I'll prove to you. I was giving you money, but I said, give me an opportunity, I'll prove to you that I can make it work. And
Yeah.
And he was like, well, have you got a space? And I was like, no.
Yeah.
And, well, when are you planning on opening? Because it takes X amount of weeks to get planning permission. And
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I was rushing around, and I actually said to you, 6 years ago today, I was, to this day, some memories came up on my pictures in Google Photos that that I was looking at units 6 years ago today, because I knew that I needed to get my backside in gear to make it happen if that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Best move I ever made. Best move I ever made.
Yeah,
and I'm
love
not
it.
just saying that for the camera and the and the podcast. Since obviously, as we'll go through this, what's happened in the past 6 years has been nothing short of life changing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually remember that conversation we had like very, very clearly. I mean, obviously we've had a long relationship since, but out of all of the calls that I've had over the hundreds, if not thousands at this point, over almost a decade, I remember that conversation, and it's always like a red flag to me. Like, someone doesn't have a gym, they don't have any clients. It usually follows they have no money, and they just have a dream. But I remember you, and you were just like so committed with it. And then you just come out of the military. You wanted a new career change. At that point, had you started your fitness journey already? Had you started your kettlebells and stuff at that point?
Yes, I had. I decided around about 2013 that I was going to leave the army. Mm-hmm. The army tried to kick me out because I was deaf. I was involved in a couple of accidents earlier on in my career, and I lost my hearing.
Yeah.
And I'd always battled to make myself employable in the army, because once you lose something like your hearing, you can't do certain tasks, certain roles. But I always made a point of making myself employable, so that when they did come knocking on the door and looking to get rid of people, I wasn't that person.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that happened in 2012, 2013. And I kind of realized at that point, that was 20 years into my army career. And being 30-odd-year-old, I kind of realized that was just a number on a spreadsheet. It was just a line to somebody who was sat behind a desk somewhere and decided that I no longer was required. So that kind of shifted my focus on what was going to happen after I left the army. And I'd kind of, a couple of years before, had started my own fitness journey. I used to be 18 and a half stone. I was 118 kilograms, drank beer, ate junk food, didn't move around very much, and decided to sort myself out. In doing so, I fell in love with it, as most people do, and decided that that was kind of the career that I wanted. I went away and did a degree, strength and conditioning degree, sports science degree. And I kind of had visions of working with sports people, professionals.
Like athletes,
that kind of thing. I was into sports performance, athletic development. But then I realised the career pathway required to get there as a 40-year-old man.
Yeah.
I had a mortgage, I got a wife, I got a family. It wasn't going to make much money, basically.
Yeah.
And it'd be years before I was working with any credible athletes, if I was any good.
And in the military, it wasn't, you were, well respected, fairly high up.
Yeah, I was getting a good wage. I was earning 40 odd grand a year.
Yeah.
And I had to obviously make something along those lines.
Yeah.
Support a standard of living that we were used to.
Yeah.
And already committed to, really.
Yeah.
So I had this idea of opening up a gym, and then I saw this advert come up, 50K in 90 days. I thought, wow, 50K in 90 days. That's,
so we were just talking about Kieran with this, the exact same thing.
I kind of bought into that, and it was like, I could live on 50K in 90 days.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. I've never seen 50. It takes me 12 months to earn not even 50K. That'd be awesome. So obviously I looked at it, watched the videos, and then I was doing like a program, strength and conditioning education, I think it was with a guy called Brendan Chaplin, and I recognized one of the faces on your promo video as one of the guys on this thing, Russell Jolly.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Russell Jolly, and I thought, well, Russ is a good guy. I like Russ. I trust him. If he's on there, then it's a no-brainer. It was literally a no-brainer. Yeah. He was successful. He had these gyms. I chatted to him about it, and he was using these systems, and he was seeing great success. So I thought, well, if he can do it, all I need is the guidance. I've got the passion. I've got the drive. I've got the energy. I've got the willpower. I've got the will to succeed. I've proved that throughout my life so far. I just need direction and clarity and guidance. So I reached out, and within, obviously I started your program. Feel free to join in.
I'll just let you talk.
I started your program, no gym, no clients, and I actually finished your program, your 90-day program.
Yeah.
Must have opened my gym a week before the program finished, but I was more than happy to commit to the program. And it was all about, I'd set a deadline, you were very, very, what really helped me was, right, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And it wasn't about 50K in 90 days. It was about for me, it was about getting myself set up and teaching me what it took to open up a gym.
Yeah.
And get your first 5 clients, basically.
Yeah. I remember you sent me a photo like of a group of
6 people.
6 people, yeah.
Yeah, I opened my gym with 6 people. And it was hard work. And then I thought, when I opened it up with 6 people, and I took out a business startup loan for 25 grand. And I've got 6 people coming through the door, which didn't even pay the rent. And I thought, oh, shit.
I remember you reached out to me at the time, and you're like, what am I going to do? I've only got 6 people.
What am I going to do? But one of the things you did at that point, it says, I've only got 6 people. It's all about problem solving. And it was like, right, okay, what do we do to get people in the door to convince them that this is what they need, and you're the solution for them? And within a couple of months, I had 50 people.
Yep.
And then and then it was just all about, right. Then the snowball started to grow into the avalanche, and within a year it was 100 and something people, and within 2 years it was 180 people.
Yeah.
And within 3 years, I'd opened 2 more gyms.
Yeah.
So, the platform was laid in that 90 days. And then obviously the guidance and support throughout following that led to
the way
Forever Strong being 3 gyms just before COVID, at the end of 2019.
Yeah. So there are a couple of things that I want to circle back on, then we'll come back to where we're at. You skirted over a couple of accidents. Are you willing to go into that, in the military?
A little bit. I got I was involved in an incident in Iraq, which left me, basically tank got blown up,
Yeah.
left me perforated eardrum in my left ear. Other than that, fine. And then I kind of suffered with that. Well, indirectly caused a disease in and around my ear, so I had to have my ear removed. And then I battled back. I battled back from that.
What year was that?
2003. So
Oh, yeah,
that was
so-
the invasion of Iraq in
Yeah.
2003.
That's when I left school, though.
So
So you went then 10 years. You kept a career in the military, even though people were usually discharged for.
well, they classified me as UK home only, and I got the notice in 2012, 2013 that they call it service no longer required, or they used to call it service no longer required, and you basically get a letter, which is essentially exactly what I did, saying you no longer meet the minimum health requirements of the British Army.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.
You've now got 12 months to sort your affairs out.
Yeah.
Your discharge date is this date, 12 months.
How did you feel at that point? Like, you're 20 years into a career that you probably thought you were going to retire in.
Yeah.
It's all you had ever known.
Yeah.
Was there any sadness? Was it
Anger.
anger? Yeah.
Anger, frustration.
Yeah.
I joined the army when I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
For my own benefit, I left Rochdale, a mill town north of Manchester. Single parent, abusive father, didn't like the town, fat kid, needed to get away, bullied, joined the army. It was an escape, rubbish at school, no grade. I left school with no GCSEs or O levels or anything. O levels back in those days.
Yeah.
And joined the army. That was my escape to a better life.
Was that a forever thing for you? You just like, that's it, that's what I'm doing, that I'm in.
Well, I thought I'd try it,
Do it for a little bit.
and then I went through the basic training because I was underage. The basics training lasted a year instead of 12 weeks or whatever it is for an adult. For a junior, it was 12 months.
Yeah.
Fat kid at the back, bullied, but I stuck through because I didn't want to go home and admit to people A, I'd failed, and B, I didn't want to own up to people that I couldn't do it. So I stuck with it, fell in love with it. Once I got fitter and stronger, once I committed myself to that, once I got more confidence, I actually found out I was good at it.
Yeah.
I got promoted through the ranks, and by the time I got told that they didn't want me, I was a sergeant major, so I was the guy shouting, the shouty guy, gaffer,
Yeah.
who tells everyone where to go, what to do. And I was young at that point, so I had more to give. And I just felt let down. I felt frustrated. I felt as though I was above that. I
Yeah.
don't want to sound arrogant,
No,
but
yeah.
I'd given so much of my life to this cause that they were just quite happy to push me aside. Then after they used me, almost washed their hands with me, and I was done.
Done.
I was cooked, put out to pasture, so to speak, and
Yeah.
it was annoying.
Yeah.
So
Did it take you a long time to like get to grips with that? Was it
Oh, no.
something that you struggled with, or were you just like that pig-headed resilience, that determination that you had? Like, I'm not going to fail. Was that just kick in straight away?
No,
or-
it was like what next?
Yeah.
It was like,
Like a fuck you type thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm going to fight it.
Yeah.
Because I actually said to my commanding officer, my CO, I turned around and said, I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but this says I'm UK home only. And he was like, yeah, that's correct. And that's the reason why you're being discharged. I went, right, okay. I said, since then, I've done Iraq again.
Mm-hmm.
I've done 2 years in Cyprus, which is not a bad thing. I've done 12 months in the Falkland Islands in the South Atlantic. I've done 2 tours of Afghanistan. And I've done 9 months in Jordan. So I've spent more time out of the UK than I have in the UK since they classified me as UK home only.
Mm-hmm.
So you best get a good lawyer, because I'm going to take you for what you're worth. If you're going to cut my army career down and therefore also take my pension away from me, I'm going to get some money out of you, and I'm going to make an example of this.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, the party line was, the black and white of it was, you're out. So the ramifications of that is not just go and find you another job. My wife lived with me in Guildford at the time, in barracks.
Yeah.
So it's like, right, we need to go and buy a house. We had no house. We didn't know where we were going to live. So we plumbed back for Rochdale. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with Rochdale, but I just always told myself I was never going back there.
Yeah.
I had no good memories of there, and other than a couple of friends and my family, who I could see wherever, whenever. So I plumbed back for Rochdale, and I decided at that point, right, that's it. I'm going to open up the gym, and that was when I contacted.
Yeah.
You know, I did my degree and everything. But as to go back to the story, all of a sudden, after about 6 months, they decided that my medical grading was incorrect, and they would change my medical grading to make me what's called limited deployability in the army.
Yeah.
So I could go abroad just under special circumstances.
Yeah.
And therefore the problem went away.
Okay.
So I managed to maintain
For the next few years.
my career for the next few years. But in my mind, I was like, right, that's it. My end point is 2016. I could have gone further had I applied, but I chose not to apply. I was like a screw you.
Yeah.
Sticking up the finger. But then it was like, right, what's next? What's the next chapter of my life going to be? I'm going to be 40-year-old. The army was all I knew. Do I go working? A lot of the guys, no disrespect to them, go working in things like health and safety, construction management as an engineer, because that's what my background is, civil engineering. That's the obvious pathway. And I just thought, I don't want to go and do that. I don't want to be sitting behind a desk getting fat. Being that 9-to-5 guy going home stressed. Being the kind of guy who I now help.
Yep. Yeah. And
I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah, that often happens for coaches. They solve the problem that they used to have, and I think, I mean, that's essentially what I did with the gym. Once I opened my gym, figured it out, people were asking me for stuff, and essentially sharing how I got out of the place I was in.
Yeah.
And then you're doing that with that coaching. So you moved on from there. You opened 3 gyms. What I really admire about what you did with Forever Strong was that you really built a culture, and I think you had a really powerful community. And I love the way that you always, you had Forever Strong, then you'd be like Forever Stronger, right? That would be like 1 year.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah,
every year you'd have like upgrade, like T-shirts for every single year.
Yeah, we tried to build the community and incentivize people to stay longer.
Lateral, yeah.
So a lot of people are doing it now, and I'm not saying I didn't invent anything. I just took ideas from other places and tied it all together. I basically wanted to create the kind of ethos and community within the army that we had into the gym environment and give it. And I always remember you saying, what will make people want to stay?
Yeah.
You said the actual construction of your business is very, very simple. You market, you sell, you serve, you retain.
Yep.
And it's like, do those things, do them well, and you've got a very, very good business, a very profitable, substantial, secure business. And that's all I focused on really was obviously I had to learn the first part of it, but the actual serving was something I was very good at. And then the retention thing, it was just like, well, how do we build that community, that ethos, those values? I knew all about core values and standards and philosophies from my time in the army, and we used to instill that into guys. We used to take a young lad from the street and turn them into lean, mean fighting machines.
By instilling values into them.
Instilling values and beliefs and philosophies into them. And it was just about that, and every session was a learning session. And we used to then every year we used to give them a different T-shirt, different coloured, different badges on it, And people even turned around and said, I was thinking about leaving.
Yeah.
But I stayed another 6 months just to get that t-shirt.
We used to teach a principle in our program. We still talk about it a lot, verticals and laterals. And like there's two ways people will progress in your business. Number one is vertically, they'll grow through strength, they'll lose weight, they'll get results, but that will only ever be so far. Like you have to go beyond the weight loss, beyond everything else. And the lateral growth is acknowledgement of time in service, essentially.
Yeah.
Like the time that somebody spends with you. And we used to have in New Era, like little bands, like we would give them a white band when they started. They get a blue band 6 months later. They get a purple band at 12 months. And every 6 months they get a new band. And eventually they get a black band at like 2 years.
Yeah.
And so it gives acknowledgement of their results, but also you give them massive acknowledgement and I guess it's status, right? It's status within the culture, the community.
Yeah,
that's so important.
We did the band thing at first. We did the white. The colours for the gym were white, red, and blue.
Yeah.
And we used to give them a white band and then a blue band, then a red band for the first start 6 months, 12 months. But then it was like what was beyond that, and they used to wear the t-shirts outside of the gym, in the gym. So there'd be it was just loads of branding.
Like 1
year
year stronger, 2 years stronger, 3 years stronger.
Yeah, and they'd wear it they'd go to the gym, then they'd go to the cafe afterwards, a couple of them, and and we used to give away we just give away in a time in 2016, not a lot of people were doing it.
Yeah.
And we'd give away hoodies and all sorts of goodies and freebies.
Yeah.
And I've got pictures of people wearing the hoodies in the pub.
Yeah.
And that went on social media, and it was
There you
just
go.
branding, it was awareness, and
that's culture, man. And I think that's overlooked today, but it's also, I think you've got marketing costs of getting a client, but people don't understand that it's far cheaper, easier, and more beneficial, more profitable to keep someone than it is to constantly get clients. And I think we've paid close attention to numbers over the years, but if you're losing 20% of your client base every month and you charge, our clients charge minimum £80 a month, that's £1,600 a month just leaking out of the bottom. Like what percentage of that money could you invest into your clients and customers to keep them as part of the culture?
yeah.
Like there's inherent cost in not giving them hoodies and t-shirts. When people look at the cost of doing it, they're like, oh, I can't do that. But then there's a massive cost of not doing it too.
Well, my wife was saying, this costs us £20 a person.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it does. But if we then increase the lifetime value, and it's like all them metrics you teach us, it's like if that increases the lifetime value of your customer by another 6 months, then that £20 has led to £400 increase.
ROI is incredible.
And the ROI is unbelievable. It's
20 times.
200%.
2,000%.
2,000%.
Yeah.
And it's if someone was if you were to spend £20 and somebody gives you 400 back, how many times would you do it?
Or even better, like give me 20 quid and I'll give you 80 quid a month for 6 months.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you think about that, it's like, oh, okay, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
But then even you're getting people that are like 3 years stronger, 4 years. Like you've been with
5
me now.
years.
You've been with me 6 years.
I've dished out 5 year stronger t-shirts.
Yeah, 5 years. It's about £1,000 a year as a membership.
Yeah.
That's £5,000 from 100 quid of t-shirts.
Exactly.
Like not even 100 quid. Probably t-shirts are like 6, 7, 8
and it's
quid.
just silly little things like that, and the person then posts it on their Facebook page.
It's acknowledgement.
Pride.
Yeah, it's acknowledgement. It's like
they've spent 5 years committed to something. It's much more than just
you're showing up 3, 4, 5 times a week. You're part of that. I haven't talked about this for a long time, but Starbucks philosophy was like the third place, like work, home, Starbucks. And I think with your gym, you've got to have that entire mentality. Like they go to work, they go home. Where is their outlet? Where's their social time? And if you can create that in your gym, you're not only getting people great results, but people won't stay for like weight loss results forever because their goals change. A massive part of it is a social life, friendships. Like you'll have had people that I've met and they become friends for life. I've had it through my gym, other clients. I'm sure if you're watching this and you've got your own gym, you've had the same. But that's the magic, the real essence.
I used to say to people, and I used to say it to the face, I said, our goal here is to get you results and then keep hold of you because you enjoy coming.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
You don't need us anymore. You want us.
Yeah.
Because when they first come through the door, generally, a lot of gym owners who do the transformation business, the person at that moment in time needs you. But there'll come a point where they no longer need you,
Yeah.
but they want to be there instead.
And there's a lure to cheaper things and other places.
Yeah.
And if
And
someone's just showing up for a class, then you're fucked.
Yeah, they're happy to spend £100 a month or whatever it is because they want to be associated with that community, that gym, that name, that brand, that vibe, whatever it is.
And almost always when I get a client or anybody that I speak to outside of the industry and they're like, how much is your gym member? And I'm like, yeah, minimum of 80 quid, goes up to 200 a month. And they're like, they find it like really hard to wrap their head around it because they're thinking of gym in their mind and then they're thinking of something like Pure Gym, which is 10 or 15 quid a month. And they're like, how could that be so much more valuable? But you've got to look at entertainment, like what people spend on entertainment every month.
Yeah.
Going to the movies, going for drinks. I put the gym business, like the boutique style gyms that we have, independents, I put it in the same category. Like it should be an entertainment outlet for someone because like you say, they're not going to stick forever. But it has to become more than just the exercise beyond that point. Like I used to say to people, give us 8 weeks, we'll change your body. Give us 12 months, we'll transform your body. Give us 3 years, we'll change your life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my philosophy. And it's putting people into an environment that they probably haven't never had before.
Well, when COVID came along and I closed the original gym in Rochdale.
Yeah, the first gym.
I got hate mail.
Yeah, let's talk. Yeah, talk through that.
I got hate mail from people. You've taken my life away from me.
Yeah.
And I was just blown away. At the time, I was going through a tough time anyway. I suppose we'll dig into that. But it just highlighted how people can react when something, how important it was to somebody that they would take the time to throw hate my way because I'd closed the gym.
Yeah. and it's difficult in two senses because closing a business like that is hard because as somebody who values helping people, you often put other people's needs ahead of your own gut feelings. And I did it I had a boot camp like many years ago in Liverpool. It was just before we opened the gym in 2013. And I had this group of people and I'd had them for maybe, it would have been like 2 years, really busy class. Like we had 40, 50 people there consistently. There was a lot of friendship bonds. And I knew for a good 12 months I had to get out of that. Like I knew I didn't have the heart or the courage at the time to like, in my frame was I'm letting these people down
100%
by shutting this off, closing it off. When in reality, what I was doing was I was prioritizing other people's emotional needs ahead of my own. And I was sacrificing myself to serve others, which has also been a theme throughout my life, but it's very difficult to do. So I just let the thing die. Like I literally didn't market for 12 months and I just let people fall away until it was left with a core group of 10 people. And I was like, listen, I can't do this anymore. I wasn't getting to put my daughter to bed every night as an example. And it got to a point where that balance just tipped. But like you say, it's because you think it's so important to people when you build a culture.
Mm-hmm. I had when in my original Rochdale gym, I kept a tally of everything, and one of the important things to take away from this is know your metrics and record all your numbers.
Yeah, data over drama.
Data over drama. The amount of times I nearly turned adverts off or switched something off or didn't do something and then looked at the data and went, hang on a minute, this is what's happening.
Yeah.
But we had over 40 people who we issued out a 3-year t-shirt to. So 40 people stayed for 3 years or longer.
Yeah.
And you know, £100 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do the math.
Yeah, exactly.
Do the math on that. And that's a lot of revenue coming in
From 40 people.
from 40, not including everybody else, just 40 people.
Yeah, it's like 120 grand.
You know, it's crazy, really. And then there were people that stayed 2 years, people that stayed 1 year, but these were specifically people that stayed 3 years. And at that point, it was then that I shut down Rochdale.
Yeah.
And it was,
And what was that decision, guys? Like, let's go into that, because I know it's very difficult. Like, if you're a gym owner, like, you come and it's fucking hard, man. Like, it's extremely hard. I think if anyone's coming up in the industry and maybe watching this and thinking about opening a gym, just understand that you are signing up for being a therapist, a counselor, a confidant, a coach, a mentor. Like, it's so much.
yeah.
So what led you to the decision of, had you opened the second gym at this point?
I'd opened the second and I'd opened the third.
Yeah.
So I was operating 3 gyms,
Yeah.
which was fine. And the third one was almost brand new. It was a month or 2 old, just started to gain traction. The second one was established and had over 100 members and
Yeah, pretty fast.
was wiping its own backside. So it wasn't relying on anything else to make a profit. It was making its own money, which was great. And that had a manager, and I was kind of basically just overseeing the 3.
Yeah, you're just able to take systems from gym 1.
Yeah.
Boom, let's plunk it there. And like, by this time, you're very experienced with our stuff and your own incredible systems that you'd built over time. It's like, boom, there we go.
Yeah.
Second place.
And and knew how to inject people into it quickly and
Fast.
then keep people
Yeah.
retained, and quickly create that culture and that community in the second location as well. COVID hit and it wiped a lot of my energy. If I'm being honest, there's a few circumstances personal at home as well, which wiped my energy. And I just didn't have the bandwidth and capacity to deal with everything that was going on. We lost quite a few members, as most gyms probably did. We had the Zoom, we held quiz nights,
Yeah.
we did all the community stuff, we did online charity fundraisers, we did everything that other people were doing to keep their communities, and we retained a good number, but we also lost a good number. Rochdale's it's frequently in the top 10 poorest areas to live in the UK.
Yep.
And when something like a
COVID.
pandemic
Yeah.
hits, the local community gets hit hard, and a lot of people were spending more at this gym than they could probably realistically afford, but they were spending it because it had that vibrant community without blowing smoke up our own
I had people
backsides.
cancel a Sky subscription to pay for our gym, so I get it.
Yeah. So when COVID came along, they did have to make that tough decision. And it just so happens, and it was a business decision mainly. Well, it was an emotional decision
Yeah.
in one and a business decision in the other. One, I had some negative emotional connection to the gym. I'd been let down badly by a coach who decided that he was going to, who really let me down. And that comes with part of the territory. So hire well.
Yeah.
Hire well.
I don't think there's a single gym owner that I've worked with that hasn't experienced that to some degree.
And then I was on a 3-month rolling lease at this unit. Mm-hmm. And the second location, it was close enough that a number of people from the Rochdale gym might transfer over. That was a gamble.
Yeah.
An educated gamble, which transpired as it happens. A good number of them transferred over, but it was also I'd just signed a 4-year lease on this other unit,
Yeah.
which I was a personal guarantor for, and with a 2-year break clause. So I still had to serve at least another 18 months on this unit that I had to pay rent on,
Yeah.
and the other one I could get out of in 3 months.
Yeah.
So it was almost a good number of those might transfer over.
Consolidation
And I've got to look after the business. I've got to protect the business
and your own mental health.
and my own. Sometimes we don't think about ourselves, but you need to protect yourself as well.
And it takes a lot, man. Like, I think there's a lot of pride, a lot of maybe ego, a lot of shame, like considering people from the outside, what they all think, like the thought of failure, like all of these things going through your head to make that decision is a really, really difficult decision.
Yeah,
Really difficult
and
decision.
you've got staff as well.
Staff to
I
look
didn't want
after,
to let the staff
members.
down.
Yeah.
I didn't want to let the members down because, like I say, I got hate mail. I got mail. I can't believe you're taking this away from me.
Yeah.
This is my, and we'd always created this community where it was your gym.
Yeah.
It was our community.
Yeah.
And they quite rightly threw that back in my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You said it was our gym.
No,
we haven't had a choice in this matter.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't
put your
disagree
money
with you.
in and let's have a shareholders meeting and then let's discuss it. Yeah. So I get it. Well, how long did it take you to draw that decision? Like, how long did you think about it? How long did you know in your gut that it was the right decision, but you just struggled to pull the trigger?
Well, May 2020,
Yeah.
and the gym shut in December 2020.
Yeah.
So I struggled on
6
for
months, 7 months.
6,
I
7
think we had
months.
multiple conversations over it.
6, 7 months. Because I didn't want to do it,
Yeah.
but the numbers, the data over drama said, you've got to do it. And in my mind, it was like, well, I'd rather retreat,
Yeah.
consolidate, and come and advance
it's
again.
like you wouldn't send all of your soldiers into battle knowing that they're going to
Die.
be ambushed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so the smart thing is to retreat,
Yeah.
re-strategize.
If you're doing something, it's not working.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull back, consolidate.
Going back to that time, would you change anything timeline-wise? Would you have done this? Would you have made that decision quicker?
I'd have probably made that decision quicker.
Yeah.
Because as it transpires, nobody's coming. None of those people are coming to save you or to give you a hand or to loan you money.
Yeah.
They're going to look after themselves, quite rightly.
Oh, of course.
So why shouldn't you look after yourself?
It's almost like in a weird about way. It's like a self-sabotage, or like, again, it's the same thing that I was saying. You're not prioritizing your needs or yourself in that decision. You're almost looking at everybody else. And I think it's so important in your business to step back and ask yourself, like, on a gut level, does this feel right to me? Like, how do I feel about this? If I was to take everybody else out of the equation, like, how would I feel in this moment if that was no longer a thing? And I think, you know, a mentor of mine, I mentioned this on the show the other day, said to me once, you don't have to, like, experience is the worst teacher you could ever have. Other people's experience is the best teacher. So you sharing that lesson, like, pull the trigger quicker. You had the data available to you for 6, 7 months.
Yeah.
But it was the emotional attachment maybe that.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It was the connection. I'm letting people down. What are they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and in hindsight now, I should have let staff go. I should have, you know, it cost me money over that time. And don't get me wrong, I feel a great degree of pride in the fact also that I helped
Absolutely.
people, because that's what a lot of us like to do. We come into this industry to help and serve others, that I could help and retain my staff. And as people were being made redundant and let go, it was like, I've retained my staff and I will continue to, and I will figure out a way in which I will make money, which will kind of bring us on to the next chapter, won't it? And whilst still being able to make sure they're getting paid.
Yeah.
So I effectively took no money out of the business during that COVID period to make sure that other people were getting what they needed to survive.
And that's leadership at the same time as well. And yeah, I look back to that period of time through COVID and insane. Like, I went through separation in that time frame. It was an incredibly challenging time. And I think back, I was on my computer from like 6 a.m. to like 6, 7 at night. And it was just chaos, like every day. It was like a state of fear. And I don't think that people are really processing that time frame, especially as a business owner, but in general, anyone that's listening to this that doesn't have their own business, is like a traumatic time. Like, it's trauma, major trauma, control, abuse, almost the push-pull from the government, like so many things taken away from you, that if you don't process that as traumatic, I think you've got to understand it's going to have an impact on your ability to be like free in the future. And so you made that decision December 2020. You had the Bury gym. You let go of the Rochdale one. You let go of
Cheltenham as well.
3.
Let go of Cheltenham.
And decided that you wanted to serve people with a bit more of a mission?
Yeah, well, I was going through my own personal troubles at the time as well.
Between May and December?
Well, it started back in probably November 2019. Now, for years and years and years, I've been married since 2004. So
17.
17 years.
I was 17.
Oh, you were 17. Yeah. So I got married in 2004 to my childhood sweetheart. Now, don't get me wrong, we didn't meet at school and then everything was plain sailing. We met at school. We then separated when I joined the army because I was drinking loads of beer and staying away and became a bit of an arsehole. And then 8 years later, we met again. And we spent a couple of years together and then decided to get married. We got married in 2004. But she'd always said, I don't want a dog while she were in the army.
Yeah.
And I'd always wanted a dog. I wanted a companion. I love dogs. And for those people that are listening or watching that are dog lovers, you'll probably understand, or pet lovers, you'll understand. But I had this real connection with dogs. And I always had this vision of me, camper van, active, like border collie type dog running around the Lake District, in the hills, in the rain, snow, whatever, getting lost.
Whatever the weather, yeah.
Yeah, and just enjoying ourselves. And that was kind of like my idea of heaven. That was my downtime. But she'd always said, no dog whilst you're in the army, because I don't want to be wiping its backside whilst you're in Afghanistan or wherever. And I got that. I understood that. So I respected that. So we didn't get a dog. But when we got out, I had the chaos of opening the gym. The whirlwind, which was the first year, successful as it was.
Yep.
Like you were saying, coach, mentor, therapist, business owner, data analyst, you name marketer, salesperson, CEO, you name it. You're wearing a million different hats.
Yeah.
I was just finishing up a session and Jill rang me and said, look, there's these puppies I've seen, which was great because that was her acceptance then. And I was like, yeah, I'm in, let's go. Yeah. And by the time we'd gone to see these puppies, she'd already named one of them, Basil. Of which point, we're having that one then, are we?
Yeah.
Or I highlighted which one I liked, and by the time we got there, she'd already named it Basil. So I was like, we're having him then. And she was like, yeah. So then started a love affair with my little gorgeous border collie, male. But then in 2019, November, he became really ill.
Yeah.
Really ill. And they could never figure out what it was. And between November 2019 and May 2020, he started to waste away, and he was 22 kilos, and then he ended up, in the end, weighing 10.
Yeah.
So he lost half his body weight, or more than half his body weight. And at that point, we had to make a decision to have him put down. And to me, that whole experience was probably the start. It triggered stuff that had previously gone on in my life. And, the abusive father, the single parent, the bullying, everything probably all tied in together. The experiences in Iraq, Afghanistan, all those kinds of things, all probably tied into one. And the grief and the loss, and I didn't deal with it very well, is the bottom line. A typical bloke.
As a typical man, suppress it, push it away.
Yeah, push it away. I'll just involve myself in work. I can deal with it. I've dealt with worse.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. And I think it was I had to sign the line that terminated his life before he'd even had a life, because he was only 3. And also I felt selfishly my dream had been taken away from me, running up in the hills.
Which you'd done lots of, by the way.
We'd done a bit of, but I was never really allowed to take him out onto the hills a lot because he was still growing.
Yeah.
He's only a young dog, but it was just getting to that point now where he could run for 20 miles with me.
Yeah.
And I was just about to go and buy a camper van. So I was just about to tie all the pieces together, that dream of what I wanted. And yes, I did have that on my vision board as something that I wanted. And that's what I was chasing for. Ultimately, I was making the money to aspire towards that.
Yeah, you'd cultivated your lifestyle at that point to be able to free yourself up. You staff in the gym, everything's functioning, everything's working.
Yeah, which is done through systems and processes and teaching and
press a bit of like that thing.
Yeah, and it was working. I'd stress tested it. What happens if I go away for a week? Can it survive without me? Yes, brilliant. Okay, I might need to to do a few things here, there, and everywhere. But ultimately, it will survive without me, which is every gym owner's dream, really.
Yeah.
And I managed to do it with multiple locations. So that obviously coincided with lockdown and COVID. And I kind of spiraled at that point. I'm not ashamed to admit the fact that I didn't deal with it very well.
All is welcome here.
I tried to sweep it under the carpet and just tell everyone that everything was okay, whilst I was putting on a brave face for the community who needed me. And I like to see myself as someone that thrives in chaos, deals with. I've had to deal with multiple chaotic moments and stood up and succeeded. And that one I didn't, basically. And I'm not ashamed to say, looking back now, I was suffering with severe depression.
Of course.
And
rightly so. And I think it's important on that note to like really just embody it, not experience any shame, and just like allow yourself to experience that thing in the moment.
yeah, definitely. But that's something I didn't do. I didn't do. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. We've all got 20/20 hindsight, haven't we? And I immersed myself more into work. I avoided situations which I could have dealt with a lot sooner. And life probably would have turned out better, but we are where we are. I'm content and happy with the experiences that I've got now. So it's made me into the person that I am. But ultimately, I kept almost self-sabotaging. We were talking about it earlier with I wasn't doing some of the things which were natural to me before.
Yeah.
And I knew needed doing because of, I just couldn't be bothered, really. I'd do it later.
You couldn't do it, yeah.
I'd avoid my gym manager ringing me up
Yeah.
because it's a problem. It might not be a problem.
Yeah.
It might be to say, oh, we've retained such and such % of people.
That's where your mind went straight away.
My mind just went
Problem.
straight to problem, fear,
Yeah.
failure, because all these other failures were coming along in life. Everything else was just a problem.
Do you feel like you give yourself space to grieve Basil at the time?
No, because I'd immersed myself into the next chapter, which was trying to create a living for us. Because I kind of resigned myself to the fact that, at the time, I needed some freedom and flexibility.
Yeah.
Because I was taking Basil to the vets almost every day. We were in Rochdale. Halifax is 20 miles away over the moors into Yorkshire, but that's where our vet was. I took him to see the super vet. I can't remember his name, but the Irish guy who's on TV. Spent a ridiculous amount of money with him. He opened up. Basil couldn't find anything wrong. There was obviously a problem, but he couldn't find out what the problem was. So I needed flexibility. So we had a chat, started online marketing. I started having a real good hard think about who I wanted to really serve. And ultimately through my little journey of depression, sadness, I decided I wanted to work with guys who I used to be like. So the 18.5 stone guy who was tired, lazy, fatigued. I don't want to use the word lazy. Fatigued, stressed, couldn't sleep. I was that guy in my mid-30s because of these injuries and accidents within the military, and I wanted to help that guy. I wanted to be a focal point, and no disrespect to the women who were in the gym, but I just wanted to work with men.
Of course.
I just felt I'd spent my army career surrounded by men. I was comfortable. I felt that I had a message, and I wanted to continue to help and serve people whilst I was going through what I was going through. And I saw an online business as a medium of doing that, whilst also supporting my family and making sure that I could retain staff within the gyms as well. Because it would have been so easy just to go back to what I knew and effectively just brush everyone aside and say, sorry, I can't afford to pay you. I'll take everything now, and I would have been quite comfortable.
Yeah.
But that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I didn't see myself as a leader being doing. I thought, and I saw this as an opportunity. You know, sometimes problems are opportunities. Let's seek a new opportunity. And it's like, right, this is now a chance for me to create some freedom, flexibility, and do something that I am really, really passionate about.
Yeah, aligned with.
And aligned with, yeah.
Yeah.
So I kind of saw it as almost, I don't want it to be cliche, but I almost saw it as a calling, really. I got some traction straight away. I saw success.
Yeah, right out the gate.
Straight out the gate, you know, several clients wanted to do this stuff. Great success.
Charging like 500 quid or something at the time.
I was online. Yeah, I was charging. In hindsight, again, I'd have charged more, but I was charging 500 quid for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
I'd never really sold to someone who had
not face to face.
Not face, you know, like if there was no physical, tangible product such as come to a gym.
Yeah, you're selling fresh air. Essentially.
I'm essentially selling myself. I'd never done that before, and I was making mistakes. It's a different ball game altogether.
Massively.
But I've practiced that and I've had loads of success. I had initial success, which you know, which was great. But then I went through a lull period, doubted myself again, but then it picked back up, and you know, constantly coming back to yourself. You know, am I doing the right thing? And it was just like, let's just change the messaging slightly. Let's just tweak the offer. If it's not engaging with people, then it's probably what you're trying to offer. It's not sexy enough to grab somebody. It's not enticing enough.
Nice to have, not a need to have.
Yeah, and I was trying to sell what I wanted to give them rather than what they needed at the time. I was trying to give them the solution, and they didn't the actual solution that they need.
Yeah,
not the thing that they wanted. So it was like, right, sell them what they want. And it sounds sleazy, this, but it's so true. Sell them the thing that they want, and then ethically give them what they need.
1,000%. It's very hard for people. It's funny, and we talk with clients about this when we first start. You know, people want more energy. They want to wake up energized. They want to be more confident. They want to be healthier. They want to feel happier. But they almost won't buy on that stuff.
No.
They'll buy on lose 20 kilos.
Look good in the mirror.
Yeah,
look good naked.
Yeah, the tangibles, like the actual physical tangibles. And what I say is that almost always your marketing will communicate the tangibles, but your testimonials will communicate the intangibles. Because people will see beyond that initial weight loss. They'll see the stuff that you knew that they would get to eventually, but their mind's so fixed on, in order for me to be happier, more confident, sleep better, be healthier, I have to first lose 20 kilos.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, it's ingrained into our psyche, isn't it, as well? You know, you drop, Peter Kay was 14 stone in a day.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. I remember, yeah.
But he's taking the mick out of culture. And it is, you know, lose the dad bod, drop the 14 pounds for summer body, take your top off on the beach without feeling like a whale.
Because people are so short-term focused, they can't even think 2 years down the line. If you're saying like in 3 years' time, you'll have a six-pack, you'll be stronger, you'll be healthier. They've actually done experiments on this. Like, I'll give you 50 quid today, or I'll give you £100 12 months from now. People are going to take the 50 quid all day long.
Yeah.
And like on a high degree, thousands of times they've done that experiment, because it's very difficult for us to see the gratification of something so far out.
Yeah. It's like the, I'll give you £2,000 today, or I'll give you a penny today, which then doubles in price, doubles in value every day for the next 30 days.
Yeah.
And if you sat and did the maths, it's like 200 grand.
No, it's like 10 million.
Oh, is it 10 million? It's ridiculous.
It's crazy,
It's ridiculous. But people would take
£2,000 right now.
£2,000 right now.
Yeah.
Because they can go and spend it. And today's Amazon clickbait, you know, buy now with one push of a button. You've got to sell that. They're looking for instant result.
Yeah.
And when I originally started, I called it Ageless by Design. And because I saw myself, you know, I'm 45-year-old now. I'm in good shape. I'm in great shape.
Yeah.
You know, and I see myself being my wife said to me, we were running up a hill. I ran up a hill one day and she went, "You'll die doing that one day." And I says, "Good."
Yeah.
Because it means I'm an old man running up a hill.
Yeah.
And I'm not some fat knacker.
Yeah.
In a chair.
Yeah.
On on pills.
Rather die running up a hill than die in my chair.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw my granddad, he was from 65 through to 80. He lived 15 years in a chair on medication.
Yeah.
And I
Same
swore
as
to
my
myself, I'd
granddad,
never be that guy.
Yeah.
And I'd rather die in the middle of the hills just being active.
Yeah.
Died of a heart attack from running around whilst I'm 80, 90-year-old. You see videos of guy, like a 90-year-old guy pole vaulting, and it's like, dude, I want to be you.
Yeah.
You know?
So that was your vision, right? Ageless by design.
And I tried to sell that.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to see 30, 40, 50 years down the line. And it's a great concept. And, you know, there's people out there now, Lifespan, Dr. Peter Attila, and they're gaining traction on that stuff. And perhaps I was just a bit ahead of my time with it. But,
it's because it requires a body of work that people can't see themselves ever doing, right?
Yeah.
But I think you can instill that belief in your clients once they're a client.
Yeah.
So we talk about the perfect client, future perfect client. And the perfect client right now is somebody who wants to lose some weight. The future perfect client is the person who thinks about becoming ageless.
Yeah.
Thinks about their longevity, thinks about their health and fitness into their later years. But we've got to cultivate that in people. We've got to create our best clients. We don't acquire, and this is a big thing, we don't acquire our dream clients. We create them. Like, you weren't my dream client when we first started working together. You wanted a gym. You didn't have a gym.
Yep.
You didn't have clients. But over time, you've become a dream client.
Yep.
Because
Show me what to do. I go and do it. I don't ask too many questions.
Yeah. Instilled values and structure and systems and vernacular and language and terminology. Now we have an understanding, and that's what you've really got to connect to. If like you're thinking about, you still have that in your mind. You know that you're making your clients ageless by what you're teaching.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to communicate that.
Yeah, definitely. And I learned that. So I changed
The hard way.
I learned the hard way. In the pocket and with my frustration. But then I changed it. So I changed it from Ageless by Design to the Empowered Man. You know, what do guys, and the message I was communicating was, right, you need to lose weight. You need to sort of get fitter. You know, so you want to look in the mirror and feel proud. Take your top off. I spoke to a guy the other day, and he was telling me that he struggles to reach around and wipe his own backside.
Yeah.
Such is his mobility and the size and girth of his torso. And he's 50-year-old. Yep. And he's like, I need to sort myself out. And it's gone from, you know, a lot of the guys, and he's been following me for years as well. This is a point to get across. This guy's been following me because even in the gym, he's quite a local guy to me.
Yeah.
And he's been following me on Facebook, my Facebook lives, my posts for 2 to 3 years. This guy.
The art of showing up daily.
Now he's just decided. And I've got a business partner with the Empowered Man, Greg, and we were chatting. Who's also a client of yours, and which has brought us together.
Joint venture, which really
because
nice.
just quickly touch on that. He enjoys doing one part of the business. I enjoy doing the other part of the business.
Yep.
Marry it together.
Yeah.
We both get on. We've shared rooms together whilst we've been.
Oh yeah.
So your community, and you know, point to reference here as well, in the fact that a majority of your clients are 3, 4, 5 years plus.
7.
You know, loads of people stay, and we've built up that little community and trust with each other. That we were saying, well, I enjoy the coaching side, he enjoys the sales and marketing side. I enjoy the retention side, building that community, the values, the core principles, teaching the message. Why don't we marry it together and share a journey? And so far it's proven to be fruitful.
And the thing to note on that as well is that it was like you can have 100% of a small pie.
Yeah.
Or you can have 50% of a much bigger pie.
Yeah.
You're both serving the same market. You're both kind of doing it. Greg was like, I don't want to like go through, because he had a man's program through lockdown. He's a bit of a wild entrepreneur. He kind of does a lot of things. Opened a gym, closed a gym, online business, closed the online business, started the online business. So many different things, very entrepreneurial. And he's like, you know, why would I go and build the same business and have all that infrastructure and do everything else when I can just like plug myself into something that's already working, and we can both grow together by complementing each other.
Well, I'd had when me and Greg started talking about it, I'd spent a lot of time creating all the content. I was turning up every day. I'd got my audience already, and I was already having 8, 9, 10. I'd had a 10K month.
Yeah.
I was doing 8, 9K months, which, it's not in the gym. I was having 30K months, 40K months. But that came with massive overheads.
Oh, yeah.
But online came with next to no overheads.
A little bit of ad spend and
a little bit of ad spend and a few software things. And it sounds sexy, but it's a lot harder to sell online. Much harder. But you've got to be more diligent in what you do.
Got to be sharper.
Yeah,
more certain.
Yeah, for sure. And for a lot of people, that a lot of people don't succeed because they don't take that into account. They just think, they see the numbers and they go, I'll go online, and they don't realize it takes up a lot of time and energy.
And we've been workshopping your sales process for a good 2 years, like when it comes to your online stuff, sharpening that and tightening it up. And I think people oversee that. I think partly people in my position have a much bigger responsibility to communicate that difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you can get fast results. Yes, you can get quick results. Yes, you can grow your business very fast. But to have something sustainable long term, you got to skill up.
Yep.
Massively.
And show up every day.
I
have 4 rules that I pass on to our guys, and I live these rules myself. And one of the things I pride myself on is I am essentially marketing to who I was, who I want to work to, and I live by my own rules. So whatever I'm teaching them is simple, and I can get up every day knowing
you can do it.
That I can teach it because I'm living it, and it's essentially show up, do the work, trust the process, and give a shit about yourself.
There you go.
And if you can employ those 4 things, you'll see success because you'll maintain consistency.
It's funny. I had a conversation with a client the other day, and we were back and forth on email marketing. And she was like, I just send 1 email a week. And I'm like, why not daily? She said, because daily is too salesy. She's like, salespeople email daily. And I'm like, okay, here's a reframe for you. Here's how I see it. What if the day that you show up is not the day that somebody's ready to receive that message? What if when you send that message every single day, you had an understanding that that might hit for someone on that particular day? Because we all go through waves, and we all go through cycles, and we all go through ups and downs. Some days we're flying and that message doesn't hit, but some days we're at rock bottom, and just that one email, that one video, that one message just hits at that point in time.
We signed a guy up last week, me and Greg, and that exact thing. I said, what made you choose now? Because he said, I've been following you for 6 months. Mm-hmm. What made you choose now? He said, the video you did on Friday.
Yeah, just hit him at the right time.
Just hit him. He just said it just switched the light on, and I realized that I've been lying to myself and I need to make a change. And it was as simple as that. And if I hadn't had posted that video on Friday, then he wouldn't have got that message, and he may still be thinking, I'll do it next week.
Yeah.
And something you said to me which really resonated, and we were going through email marketing, I was starting to look at data, and I was like, right, this is the 15% open rate, and you are, yeah, but if you don't send every day, it's not always the same 15% of people that open it.
Yeah.
One day it could be, you might have a hardcore 3% who open the email, but the other 12% are all different people every day of the week. So you're speaking to a lot of people. It's not just say if you've got 100 people, 15 people always read your email. 3 might.
Yep.
The other 12 are all different. Are segments of that 100 people throughout the week or throughout the month.
Yeah, exactly.
And you might be touching 30, 40 people throughout the week because you send him regularly.
I believe, hand on heart, that as a coach and somebody who has the skill and knowledge to transform and change lives, that it is your moral and ethical obligation to show up every day for your people and share a message.
Yep. And there are people out there as well, even if it's just a small number. We had a girl sign up for the gym a couple of years ago, suffered with massive mental health issues. And she said, you were my 7:30 a.m. saviour, because you do your Facebook Live every morning, 7:30. And there's a power in consistency and routine as well, showing up kind of, if you can, the same time every day, because people get into routine. She used to walk a dog and listen to me ramble on about
whatever was
on my mind at the time.
It's important, man. You never know who's listening. You never know who's just tuning in, and You'll have this experience. I've had this experience. We judge our success of our content, our emails, our videos, our live streams, our stories by the fact that people like, comment, reply, reach out and let you know. The reality is that the people that it hits with most are silent lurkers, people that don't actually engage at all.
Yep.
And I think it's so important. Like I've had my email list now since maybe 2012. I had somebody sign up to Ascension last year that had been on my email list for 7 years. Like, it's insane. Like, I'm like, damn, I obviously didn't do a good enough job. But also, I did a great job of showing up consistently to the point at which somebody signed up 7 years later. When
Yep.
it was right time.
Right time. And you've built up that trust
Yeah.
with that person.
Especially online, when fucking there are scams there are scams everywhere, and people are very skeptical, more so skeptical than ever. And a way to address skepticism is to be there every day, because a scammer doesn't show up every day,
Yeah.
right? Why would you go out of your way every single day to go and contribute value to people if you were there to just take money? You wouldn't. And so by very nature of showing up every day, you're building trust. You're reliable, you're dependable,
Yeah.
you're there, you're like the sun.
And people
You rise every
people
single
buy
day.
into your message as well.
Sometimes they don't even listen to the whole thing though. It's like a 30-second snippet. They just see your face. They listen to a little sound bite, and you just build and trust
Yep.
the whole time. Last week you did 3 sales
Yep. 3 sales,
from
1,500 each.
1,500 each, and all 3 of those sales came from months
Yep.
of nurture.
All of them had been in our Facebook group. So essentially, mini course
Yeah.
to a Facebook group.
A la the watering hole.
Yeah, the watering hole, nurture, and then we engage with them.
Yeah.
We go out and engage with them, and these guys we've had multiple conversations with, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Multiple conversations with them, built trust, built rapport. Now's the right time.
Exactly.
And it just cycles back through. So just because somebody says no now doesn't mean it's not going to be
2
yes
steps
in the
forward,
future.
1 step back.
Yeah, but you're moving forward,
Exactly.
still moving forward.
Constantly.
Yeah, you just got to keep showing up every day. Because again, this is what you ask your clients to do.
Of course.
You know, show up, be consistent, fill in your macros, or fill in your MyFitnessPal.
Be accountable.
Be accountable. Show up to the gym. Be consistent. Keep doing the work. Trust the process. And opening up a gym, running an online business. It's a process. It's a series of processes and
It really
systems.
is. And I, on that note, a lot of my challenge with people is communicating, just as we were talking about before, communicating the tangible, right? I've multiple programs, 50K in 90 days. Kieran mentioned it as well. It was like a really significant program.
Great program.
And then I had the 5K in 30-day challenge, where it's very tangible, it's very time-based, it's very linear, it's very structured. But the people that I have the best results with by far are the people like yourself who have been with long-term, and it's the intangibles. It's just leveling each other up as leaders, as authorities. And I think the non-sexy stuff that nobody's willing to talk about is the what if you don't hit 5K in 30 days? What if you don't hit 50K in 90 days, but you build a 6-figure business over 12 months, or you build a movement over 24 months? Cindy, one of the ladies in our program, she was really disappointed with that mid-January. And then she sent me a message yesterday, did like 11,000, almost 11,000 or 10,500 pound. And she was like, I was disappointed, but I didn't look at the data.
saw
And then
the
I
win.
reflected,
Saw the win.
January 2020, she done 3,000 pounds.
3,000, yeah.
So it's like $7,000 a month difference over a 12-month period. That's not sexy in the sense of like a gazillion pounds a month. Everyone wants a 10, 20, 30, 40 grand a month testimonial. But I love that 10 grand a month over 12 months, the growth from 3 to 10, because the reason why is that I know she's building foundation and infrastructure and systems and authority and leadership, and that will only stack and compound over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Yeah.
years.
Exactly. I used to say to our clients, I used to say, if I could guarantee you £1 a week for a year, would you take that? And they were like, And I says, put it this way: pound a week is £52.
Yep.
That's just short of 4 stone. And say, for instance, you got 4 stone to lose. Would you take £1 a week rather than £4 and £3 jumps that you see people celebrating? Oh, he's lost a stone in a month. Yeah, but go back in 6 months' time and he's put a stone and a half back on.
Yeah.
And that was my life in 2010. When I decided to make the change, I went from 118 kilos down to 90. And then over the next 3 or 4 years, it was a roller coaster ride. You know, I want to put muscle on, so I'll just eat shite, and I'll gain another 10 kilos or whatever, and then I'd lose the weight again. I was just up, and it wasn't until I was 42, and I was doing my kettlebells and preparing for like world championships and stuff.
Weight categorized.
The weight categorized that I realized I needed to maintain a certain level of performance. That I really started to hone in on the consistency of my eating. Yeah. And then I got in touch with Ryan, who's another client of yours.
Yep.
On how to sort my health out, because I realised that even though I had a decent looking body, I was fit, I was strong. My actual health was shot.
Yeah. I mean, we used to travel the world with our events, right? We used to, well, at least Europe. I say the world because we did one event in Miami.
Did one event in Miami.
So I can say the world.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Yeah, it was really good as well. And every single time we're at these events, breakfast time, Gaz was like balls deep with 4 or 5 different desserts.
Oh yeah,
like
croissants,
everything.
And pancakes.
It was like favorite time of the day, right? You're just like buffet, like play 3, 4, 5. Like,
well, I used to pride myself on how much I could eat.
Yeah,
you know, that was one of my things. That's how your identity of how you see yourself is very important, because that's how you behave.
Yeah,
you know, and I used to see myself as this. When I was in the army, I could eat burger after burger after burger, swill beer after beer after beer, and still go out and do a run, a route march or whatever. And I was that machine. Mm-hmm. And I kind of took that with me. But then it wasn't until I had the identity shift as I want to be a healthy person, and I saw myself living as a healthier person, that my life really started to change. And then I then took those values and that mindset with the identity on how I can then help other people live their lives as well, and make a business out of it as well.
You'll never outgrow your identity. You don't get out of life what you want, you get out of life who you are.
Yeah. So I realized that and thought, well, it's actually spiraling me down to something I don't want to be, that was making me unhappy.
Yeah.
So I needed to make a shift. I mean, needed to make a change.
And Ryan, if you don't know Ryan Martin, he's incredible coach. Came to me with no business, and now he's like an icon at the minute. I mean,
he's crazy, isn't he?
Grew a massive following through the whole COVID situation, and also just because he's a genuine health coach. His stuff's pretty extreme. Like it's not easy to execute by any means.
No, people pay him a lot of money and then have to work really, really hard.
Yeah, 2 things. It's a lot of money, and it's a lot of, like, the money is almost the easiest thing.
Yeah,
it's a lot of work to go through that.
Yeah, exactly. I did it.
You did it.
I paid the money, and I got in at that time the best shape of my life. Mm-hmm. And funny, that then led to my performances in the kettlebells. And long story short, 5-time world kettlebell champion, sport champion.
Side note: we went to the gym once in our mastermind. Guy called Josh and Rob, will definitely have them both on. Josh is like a joker. Rob is former Marine, so. There's Rob training really hard. There's Gaz on a 1 square meter for 30 minutes, just throwing this kettlebell around. There's me and Josh just fucking about, like just having a laugh. You didn't move. Like that discipline and mentality for that. Like my mind needs to be stimulated, and it takes a lot of discipline to do that. Well, it's almost like self-punishment, to be honest.
It's hard work. It is hard work. It's repetitive, and it's like running's repetitive, rowing's repetitive, cyclic in its movement, and I kind of like that.
It's like meditative almost.
Yeah, it's meditative. Yeah, and it's about how do you get better at that movement, and it's constant efficiency. Yeah, and I just found I was really good at it, and I had the discipline with which to do that. And I thought, how do I transfer the discipline of this and the business into me and myself? And that's something I say to the guys. I say, we generally deal with success-driven men who want an athletic body, resilient mind, despite busy time work constraints. That's our line. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've been working on that.
Yeah.
We've been working on that. By mainly listening to our audience.
Yeah.
So top tip is, if you're wondering who you serve, listen to the people who
You'll
you want to
never
serve.
go wrong if you live in the market.
And live in the market, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've been listening to people, what they've been telling us, what they want, things like that. And we just changed, we've tweaked it. You know, it started off, we want to help guys drop 10 to 20 pound, you know, boost energy, which is cool, but we want to help you build an athletic body,
Yeah.
strong mind,
Yeah, it's visual.
despite busy time constraints.
Yeah.
Because you're a success-driven person, man, so you're going to be busy.
Yep.
If you can't really be success-driven if you're not busy. So it's we're dealing with the problems, we're highlighting the person, what they want, and what the problem
And
is.
what the biggest objection is to getting what they want.
And we're getting the right kind of people that we want as well, which is great.
Pay the money, do the work,
Yeah,
get the result.
We almost have to poke them to get something out of them,
Yeah.
and they come back in a little bit later and they've got some results.
Yep.
But which is great. It's a little bit frustrating for me as the coach because I want more interaction from them.
Yeah.
I almost want to create that community.
No, I get that. Yeah, it's difficult.
But yeah, so I've kind of lost train where I was going with that. But with the kettlebells and everything, it's like, how do I profess to the guys, or I try and transpose the you are a professional at work, or else you wouldn't be successful.
Yep.
If you had an appointment, you would be on time. You would be smart. You would be presentable. If you had information to present, it would be done in a way which makes you look good. But yet when you transfer that over to your personal life, you treat yourself like an amateur.
Yeah. Dude.
So why don't we just take, and they get that bit, and then it's like, right, why don't we just take the principles you employ in your work life,
Transferable skills.
all those transferables, and we put them into your personal life, into you, and we make that work, and we practice that, and we structure it. And not only do we create the plan, we then organize the plan as well, because everyone can get a plan, but how do you fit it into your life
Definitely.
around all the objections and the obstructions that you've got and the hurdles and the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis? We make it fluid enough that things can go wrong and you still can stick with the plan to allow you to deliver on the promise that you set yourself. Because what I find most guys, and this probably is applicable to women as well, but I just wanted to work with guys, is you make the plan, you don't organize it, you're not doing what you said you wanted to do, you feel like a failure, you get frustrated because you're not achieving what you said you were going to do, and you ultimately get pissed off. You're shameful of the fact you've not done it, and therefore you quit.
Yep.
And this is just all about organizing the plan into your life, creating standards which can move. Mm-hmm. So when you're on fire, your standards can be high. When you've got so many plates spinning, you can lower your standards as well. So, right, instead of walking 15,000 steps a day, which is non-negotiable, let's move it down to 8.
Yeah.
Just so we maintain momentum, keep moving forward. When we get past that rough
Keep
patch,
the flywheel spinning.
keep the flywheel spinning. Once we get past that rough patch again, let's raise the standards again, so we're not stuck in that rut. Because that's what a lot of people.
Dude, I was there myself. I lost nearly 60 pounds over the last, I think it was May 2020, April, May, something like that. I
And
started.
I'll say you're looking fly, by the way.
Thank you.
You're looking really sharp.
Appreciate it.
Really sharp. From what you did, you shared that photo the other day.
Yeah.
That big round face.
Yeah, maybe we should throw that up on here. Horrendous.
To what you are now, though, you look younger.
No,
you know?
I do. I feel younger. I feel better for it. And I was the same person, busy, successful, overworked, underrested, undernourished.
You're kind of like our target market. To be
I
fair.
am, yeah. I really am. And found it really difficult to break that pattern. But what I will say is that for the success-driven guys as well, they're not as successful as they could be professionally because their personal life is in disarray.
Yeah, if you've got areas of your life which are down here,
Yep.
you can't. It's
No, you're it's like you're dragging
it's
something
dragging
up.
you down. Yeah. You're trying to soar with the
Ball
eagles,
and chain.
but part of you is down with the pigeons.
Yep.
Pecking off scraps on the floor. Your average is somewhere in the middle.
You're just not going to show up. You're not going to be... Dude, I'm telling you right now, I would not feel comfortable 2 years ago on camera like this. It wasn't on my mind, but I know the level of confidence that I have now versus then is significantly different.
Yeah, it's an ego thing, but it's we all have an ego, and you've just got to accept that. Well, one of the guys, I did this high rocks competition, and a lot of guys transfer over from CrossFit and they do it semi-naked, tops off, torso showing.
Yeah.
I'm a 45-year-old man, and I Jade, my coach, she's like 30-year-old 5-foot female,
She'll be on here soon.
and she'll be on here soon. But she's, swallowed the ego. I've gone for a 30-year-old female 5-foot coach. I'm 6
She's
foot.
a fucking machine.
She's a machine. So, but it was like top off, guys. You'll sweat. It's indoors. It's hot.
Yeah.
Top off. And I'm in better shape than most of these 25-year-olds who I'm running around with.
Yeah. And you're plant powered.
And I'm plant powered. I don't
Not
like to
juiced
say
up like they
vegan
are.
because
No.
you can be a fat and healthy vegan.
Yeah.
I'm plant powered. I live on. I'm thinking of munching this actually.
Yeah.
But it's
It's lunch.
so
It's there on purpose.
the it's hors d'oeuvres.
It's like equivalent of putting a chocolate bar there for guys.
Yeah, but I feel energized. I feel great, and I'm winning these competitions at 45-year-old, and I'm like, do you know what? And a lot of guys say to me, I want to be 15 years younger. I want to feel 15 years younger. And this is the kind of message that people are saying now, 10 years younger, 15 years younger. I remember coming to you in November 2019 and with a website address, feel10yearsyounger.com. And
Yeah.
we didn't go with it. But it's almost like it's a program name that could be coming onto the streets very, very soon. And it's people are giving me that noise now, that message.
And that's the intangible stuff that people will communicate. Again, it's like, it's not top of their mind. Like you saying, I look younger now, even though, it's mad. I'm older, but I look younger. I feel younger as well. That was never top of my mind. But that's the thing that comes up, and that's the thing that people appreciate once they go through the journey. That's a difficult thing. That's the horrible part of marketing, is like you've almost got to probe the areas of discomfort for somebody's life in order to inspire them to take action. And it's often the stuff that they don't actually need, they want, but they don't actually need. So it's a bit of a weird thing.
And I kind of think of it like you've got to find the wound and you've got to press on the wound.
Yeah, with John Carlton, one of the world's greatest copywriters, said, stick a knife and twist it. Like that's...
But you're doing it ethically.
Ethically, yeah. You're doing it because you know at a deep level that the only way to inspire somebody to action is to motivate them with pain. Like everything's pain and pleasure based. You're either moving away from pain or towards pleasure, but the driver to move away from pain is far significant to move towards pleasure.
Yeah, but I only find it lasts so long because I liken it to a fire. If you stood on top of a fire, it hurts. You'll jump off the fire.
Yep.
And the closer you get to a fire, the more uncomfortable it gets. But there's a sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where it's nice, warm, and cozy.
Yep.
And you get comfortable where it's cozy, and you don't want to do much. So you've got to have something that takes them into the dark woods beyond the campfire.
Go and stand there.
So go out where it's dark, go out where it's cold, go out where it's lonely. You've got to find something that drags you forwards. And people talk about goals and purposes and passions, but you've got to have a purpose to drive you forward. Like I was chatting to you before, this high rocks thing that I've now attached myself to. I'm somebody who thrives on competition. I thrive on
physical
pursuits, and if I'm not attached to that kind of thing, I drift. And that's what's happened over the last 2 years. Not only obviously did Basil pass away, the business started crumbling for the gym business, which I let crumble. It started failing because I let it crumble. I lost a sense of purpose. I had nothing to aim for. And I started creating these physical challenges. I ran up Scafell Pike 10 times in 24 hours.
Yeah.
But I felt lost and didn't really, in Budgie Smugglers, by the way.
Yeah. Naked.
So I had a pair of Speedos on,
Nice.
wearing nothing but another pair of trainers, and people, I raised a lot of money on that just simply because people saw me
10
running
times up Scafell Pike.
A guy sponsored me 500 quid, and he put in the notes, I've sponsored you £100 for every time you ran past me.
Yeah.
So by the time he'd gone up once
Yeah.
and down, I'd gone up and down
5 times, yeah.
well 2.5 times.
Yeah.
By the time he'd gone up once, I'd done five laps. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd gone up 5 times, and that all came back after my accident that I had earlier in the year, because I needed a physical challenge to associate myself to aid with my recovery. So that was August 2021. And then I found the High Rocks, which has now given me this purpose, this drive, because I've got these events, I've got deadlines. You know, it's important about goals. There's dates I can assign to, I can program from it, I can train, I can eat well, I can live my health. I'm now looking at the World Championships in May 2022 in Vegas, where I'm going to be going up against the best of the best that are available. There's probably better people out there. I'm not, but of the people that are going to show up, you can only compete against who shows up. They're some of the best around, and I'm going to compete against those guys in my age group. So everything I now eat and train and do is aligned with becoming the best version of me on that deadline. And it coincides with my 46th birthday as well, there and thereabouts, which significantly moves me closer to 50 than it does from 40. So I'm now in the middle at 45, but 46, I'm closer to 50 than I am 40. So I'm dedicated now to getting myself in the best physical shape that I have been in for a long, long time. I don't want to say ever, because when I was younger, I was fitter, stronger, faster, but I wasn't in great shape. I wasn't physically healthy, and I want to be in the best shape of my life.
Feel ya.
At 46.
36 in October.
Smashing. Exactly. So it soon comes round.
Jiu-jitsu is the same thing for me. Like,
you blink.
Yeah.
No word of a lie. For anyone out there who's putting off things until tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, you blink and it goes. The wisdom of age.
I'm at the most physically fit, healthy I've been in my 30s.
Yeah. And I think you can continue to get fitter.
Yeah.
And when you're in your 40s, one of the things you'd notice is your recovery.
Yeah.
I could drink all night, get up in the morning and run all day. Or I could run all day, wake up the next day and run the next day, and just keep going and going and going. I was like, when we were in our 20s, we were like ever-ready batteries, just constantly going and going and going. Nowadays, I've got to be intelligent in how I do it, because I can keep up with the youngsters for a day, but then it takes me 3 or 4 days to recover before I can go again. So, as when you hit your mid-40s, there's no reason why you can't push forward and be in peak state.
No, I think it's important as well. Like, look at you, people write themselves off at 40.
Yeah, too old.
Physically, you're competing at the highest possible level that you could, you starting new businesses.
Yep, multiple.
Yeah, you're inspiring through your actions. You're showing up every day for yourself and for others, and it's good to see. Like, it's nice to see people who might be in their 20s and they might be thinking, "Fuck, my business is over," or fitness and health's out of control, or in their 30s, or it's never too young. You're never too old, never too young to do anything that you want to do.
Yeah.
And we're coming up to about time, guys. Any parting insights or wisdoms you'd like to share or anything?
Yeah, just I suppose if things aren't going the way you want them to now, it doesn't take long to turn it around. Because, you've just gone through all that, best shape ever, or getting in best shape. Business is opening a year ago. I was in the darkest of places. Mm-hmm. And I was, like I said before, I was getting up. I get up every morning right now, and I'm sad. I'm unhappy. And I've got to find something to make myself happy, because I'm still transitioning. I'm going through a separation. God, I could do another one of these. I'm going through a separation. I'm coming to terms with something that I did last year that I'm not proud of. And it probably isn't time to go into that. But
we'll do part 2.
Do I?
We'll do a part 2 at
Part
some
2.
point. Yeah.
Okay, confirmed. I'll hold you to that.
Yeah.
Because I shared it with you earlier this morning.
Have we got time? Can we run over a few?
We've got someone in immediately.
Okay, yeah. No, that's fine.
No worries. But long story short, I I'll leave it on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
I shared it with you early, so I'm comfortable now. And you're the third person that I've told. Is May last year I went for a walk to a beauty spot near where I live, and there's a 20-foot rock face. And I decided that I was, in the spur of the moment, I decided to throw myself off the rock face. I landed on my head, bounced into a river.
Yeah.
Because I'd had enough, basically, at that moment in time. I hadn't planned it. If I'd have planned it, I'd have done a better job. I cracked my skull, fractured my skull, bounced into the river. I opened my eyes, and at that point I just thought, you dick, what have you done? You've got people who need you. You need you. Your mum needs you. She's going through a tough time. I was going through a tough time with the wife, which then ended up in separation. And I've dragged myself out of the river, climbed up a earth bank, walked a mile, got myself to hospital, went down with pneumonia in hospital. They were scared that I might get meningitis in the brain because of the open skull fracture. And I then at that point decided, how do I become the best possible version of me? Because a good friend of mine in 2010 died, stepped on a improvised explosive device in Afghanistan, and he left 2 kids, would have been more kids, a wife, a loving wife, and he lost his opportunity for life, and here I was giving up on my opportunity for life when I've got so much more to give. So I kind of flipped it around. I say it was a spur of the moment thing, but it had built up over time. Yeah, it was a pressure chamber. And I was living with, I call it the grey space in my mind. And people call it the black dog, whatever you want to call it. I call it the grey space within my own mind. And I was deeply unhappy with who I was living with inside my own head. Mm-hmm. Doubting myself. I wasn't good enough. I couldn't do anything right. And I just had enough. My business was failing because I was choosing to let it fail. And life would be better off without me. And I don't say that lightly. And a couple of weeks ago, I was crying when I was saying this. The more you do it, the more resilient you become to it. But it's taken me a long time to own up to this because I felt ashamed. Mm-hmm. I felt ashamed that I made that decision at that time.
And you said it was an accident at the time, right? You said you slipped.
I lied, yeah. I told people I slipped. A friend of mine, my best friend, my buddy, he looked me in the eye and said, look me in the eye and tell me that you slipped. And I did look him in the eye and told him that I slipped. And then a couple of days ago, he was the first person that I told. Mm-hmm. He said, I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
He said, you bounce around Scafell Pike like Bambi.
Yeah.
You never slip, you never trip, you never fall, regardless of the weather. And somewhere where it wouldn't happen, it all of a sudden happened. He says, I knew you were fucking lying.
Yeah.
He says, I just kept it quiet. And he just gave me a big hug and said, thanks for owning up, and if you'd have told me at the time, I'd have support. You just lost 9 months of support.
Yeah.
That's what you could have had.
Yeah. And you know what? Obviously time's against us, and we'll definitely go into this, I think, in depth. We'll do another episode and we'll go in on this particular thing, because I think it is okay for men to fucking own up and speak their mind, and don't get to that point. Let yourself find a community of people, find somebody you can confide in. People will not judge you or shame you for it. And definitely I appreciate you sharing that with me, guys. And I had no idea. I knew you were going through a tough time, but I also know you're a little crazy and you are out in the wild a lot. So it wasn't unusual to me, that instance. But thank you so much for sharing that and feeling like this is the platform and the safe container to get it off your chest.
Yeah, I actually contacted you yesterday, didn't you? And said, can we meet up beforehand? I've got something to share with you.
Yeah.
Knowing that if it did come round on this, I didn't want to drop it on you, but 2, I wanted to feel more comfortable in the fact that I'd shared it with more people, because it's kind of like, it's weird this, but it's almost like a little safe space. This we're talking to each other.
Yeah,
we've got a camera and a microphone. And you taught me years ago when we first started, I was rubbish on camera. I stuttered. stammered, and you were like coaching me through all that kind of stuff, which is the level of support that you give is phenomenal. But it was little things like the more you practice, the better you will get.
Yeah.
And I feel now we are just having this conversation between us, two other people in the room.
Yeah.
And it's almost as though they don't exist. No offense, guys. You do, of course, appreciate what you're doing. It's great, but it's like this is just me and you, and this is this little space. Fact that hopefully there's lots of people either watching it or listening to it.
Yeah.
I can share this in a more comfortable environment. But because these things need to get out, because I'm dealing with guys now who are going
Feel
through
that
this
way,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
definitely.
And if I'm hiding it, what are they hiding? And it's like, well, yeah, I'm uncomfortable saying this kind of stuff now because I feel ashamed. I don't feel like I'm the man. But one of my bosses in Afghanistan in 2014, there was a rogue Afghan national policeman, and he gunned down an American general. My boss was there. The guy to the left of him got shot and killed. The guy to the right of him got shot and killed. And my boss had he was on the floor with a banged head and a scuffed leg. So somebody had thrown him on the floor, or he dived on the floor.
Yeah.
He can't remember. When he got back to base, I wasn't with him that day, thankfully, or else I would have been that guy on the left or the right. He loves ice cream, and I thought, how do I boost his morale? Because he's 8,000 miles away from home. He's had a near-death experience, and we were closing down Camp Bastion. It was when we were withdrawing from Afghanistan, and we were the engineers closing the place down. As it so happens, there was no ice cream left on camp. No ice cream at all left on camp. Luckily, through a couple of connections, I knew a few SF guys, I knew a few Special Forces guys, SAS guys. They had luxuries that we didn't have. So I got hold of some ice cream for him, strawberry ice cream, the last tub around. And I put on the side of it, man up.
Yeah.
And I left it on his desk. So as he came in with his body armor, everything was quiet. He came in, put his body armor down. He said, Mr. Rothwell, because that's how I was, that was my appointment at the time. I'm just going to go in and have a brew. I went, Roger that, sir. He opened his door, saw the ice cream with man up on it, and just started laughing.
Yeah.
So I went in after him. We had this ice cream, and I said, "Sir, you're the leader. You've got to now share that ice cream with your boys.
Yeah.
There's no fucking ice cream left on Camp Bastion as far as they're concerned, and you're in here scoffing ice cream."
Yeah.
Says, "I don't care what your mental state is. You've got to share this with your men."
Yeah.
So he went out and shared it with the men, and these two fuckwits, these two idiots, saw this ice cream and went, "Where'd you get that from, sir?" And he went, "Oh, the ice cream van's just passed.
Yeah.
If you're quick enough, you'll catch it." So they grabbed the rifles. They ran outside looking for a fucking ice cream van in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan.
Sweet.
And it just shows what blokes' desperation will go to if they want something.
Moral
bad
of the
enough.
story: if you're feeling bad, get some ice cream.
Get some ice cream, yeah. But it's just that man up thing.
Yeah.
And we'd had a joke about man up, be the man up, and it's something that guys talk about all the time. Be told to man up. And it's something we shouldn't do. We should open up.
We should.
Open up, not man up.
And on that note, if you're struggling, reach out to a friend, speak to somebody. And guys, it's been a pleasure having you.
Thanks very much. Can't believe that's time gone by.
I know.
Probably overran, but there we go. Story of my life.
There we go. All right, thanks. Peace.